Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So today it is going to be a Q&A style of video. So I said to you guys on my Instagram on here that I wanted to start doing Q&A videos a little bit more, probably like once a month or so, because I know a lot of you have a lot of questions and sometimes it's obviously difficult for me to answer them through Instagram, all that type of stuff. So I like to really just do a good informative video and kind of give you the answers that you want to know, everything about fitness, just my life in general and everything like that. So today's video is going to be a competing Q&A and it is going to be my 5 top tips for beginner bodybuilders. I asked on my Instagram not that long ago about what you guys wanted to know about competing, and a lot of them were beginner bodybuilders, beginner bikini girls, kind of asking what they needed to do to start competing. That's why I kind of wanted to do this video, because I haven't actually done a video where I'm talking about starting off. So the way I've been speaking about it is like you've already competed before. But obviously a lot of people in the year 2020 want to compete, start their competing journey, and they don't know where to kind of start. So this video can hopefully give you a big insight on competing in general and hopefully can help you out quite a lot. So without further ado, here is the video. Please remember to like this video if it's informative and good for you, and please remember to subscribe because it helps support my channel. So let's get into the video.
I just wanna see the light.
So these are obviously my 5 top tips and questions that I got answered quite frequently anyway on my Instagram. So my first one is, when do you know you're ready to compete? Now, back in 2016 when I started competing, I pretty much just went headfirst straight into competing and didn't even think about the variables or anything like that, which sometimes you kind of need to do that now. So overall, think about where your life is at the moment. Are you able to afford it? Are you able to pursue it? Are you able to sacrifice all the things that are necessary to be able to compete? So make sure that your life in general is actually physically ready, because I think a lot of people make sure that everything else fitness-wise is ready, but then when it comes to kind of like their life, fitting out in prep around their life, sometimes it's not ready, and sometimes that means you just need to kind of wait a little bit. So make sure that things like school, college, university, those types of things aren't going to be detrimented when you are obviously bodybuilding, because that's something that's very, very important, and you need to obviously make sure that you have brain focus and stuff like that for exams and all of that type of thing. So obviously make sure life in general is ready for you to start prep. My other kind of tip is to kind of find out when you're ready is that you need to make sure that obviously your body is ready. So have you been gymming for a while? Have you been eating the right foods? Don't ever compete. I say this with a very, very strong don't ever compete if you are wanting to just lose weight, because that's a very rocky road that you're just going to go down. And I don't agree with competing being the reason to lose weight. You should want to lose weight because you want it to make yourself feel good, not have the purpose of competing behind that. So make sure that you are ready, your body is ready, your life is ready. So how long have you been gymming for? Are you experienced in the gym? You don't have to be experienced in the gym to obviously compete, but it does help a lot in terms of gaining muscle mass, in terms of pushing yourself, because when you are in prep, you are obviously going to need to be pushing yourself quite hard. So you want to make sure that you know how to do that beforehand, before you kind of just throw yourself into it. Body-wise, also making sure that your calories are in a very, very good position. So making sure that your nutrition is in a great position. If you already have a very up and down, bad diet, I would suggest obviously getting that back on track first, building up your calories and increasing them slowly until you feel like you're in a surplus, you've gained a good amount of muscle, you feel like your body is ready. Because for example, if you start your prep, your 14-week prep on 1,600 calories, you're going to have to decrease that quite a lot, and it will go below the thousands, and it's going to be a very, very big struggle. Versus if you start in a 2,500 calorie surplus when you start prep and you decrease from there, you probably will end up on a lot higher calories than you were for the 1,600 calories, if that makes any sense. So making sure that obviously your body is ready, calories are in a good place, all those types of variables, you need to make sure that you are ready to compete. So making sure that you are ready to take on the challenge of competing, because you don't want to just jump in head straight and then think, I want to quit halfway through, because that's obviously the worst thing to do, and you don't want to be able to do that. So making sure that all those variables are covered, you know what you're getting yourself into, you know if you are ready, and that's pretty much it. Another one of the questions and one of my top tips is, what type of mindset should you have on prep? Which I think is a very, very good question, because mindset is probably one of the most important things when it comes to competing, because it's very important to make sure that you're mentally ready and you know what you're going to be putting yourself through mentally when you are on prep. What's the type of mentality you should have when you are on prep is that you have to get it done no matter what. That's my mindset that I've kind of have throughout my prep, and I think a lot of times people really do struggle with that type of mentality. When energy is low and you have those days where you just don't want to do stuff, you have to get it done anyway. That's how challenging prep is. That's how challenging bodybuilding is as a whole. It pushes you to extents that you didn't think you could kind of go to, and you do have to sacrifice and you do have to push yourself quite a lot. And I don't think people actually understand how hard you need to push yourself. So the mentality that I kind of go through when I am on prep is, whatever happens, I have to get it done. If I'm really tired throughout the day and I need to get cardio done and I haven't done it by the end of the day, it has to be done. If I really want something that's not on my plan and I'm really like this close to having it, you can't have it. You have to make those sacrifices and you have to push yourself to do all the things that are necessary to get you onto stage. You have 24 hours throughout the day. You can get it done. You have enough time to get it done. So don't think that you can't get it done. Can't isn't a word in prep. Honestly, it can be done. Anything can be done. You have 24 hours in the day to get it done. Whatever needs to be sacrificed, it needs to be done. So that's the kind of mentality, and I think it is a very hardcore mentality to have, but this is a very hard and tough sport, and it's a competitive sport in general. Competitive sports, if you want to succeed in them and when you want to get the results, then you're gonna have that mentality. Third question is, how do I prioritize life during prep? So this is something, again, it's very difficult to do, because in the world of bodybuilding, prep comes first. Which I know a lot of people probably won't agree with. Like a lot of people obviously looking out on the outside, like friends, family that aren't into bodybuilding or competing, will look in and be like, why are you prioritizing prep over everything else? And unfortunately, obviously that is the way. So prioritizing life, I really make sure that I am organized with everything that I do. It is very easy to become very, very organized throughout prep. You just need to make sure that you follow everything and don't kind of not do something because you're tired, or not do something because it will fall behind otherwise. Organizing things throughout prep is very easy. I just make sure that I write everything down. I make sure that I know what I'm doing each day, prioritize what I am gonna do, prioritize what is most important. So, okay, I'm gonna get cardio out of the way so I can do this, and this throughout the day. Or if I've got school from this time to this time, I'm gonna do this before this, and da-da-da-da. It's planning and making sure that you are organized. It is very easy, but it can sometimes become very overwhelming, and especially for me sometimes, because I am very busy. I travel a lot, do a lot of posing clients here, there, and everywhere. It is very stressful, but it can be done. Like I said, there is no such thing as can't, so you can get it done. You just need to make sure that you prioritize things and are organized. My favorite thing is whiteboards. I use my whiteboard. I use my calendar on my phone like no tomorrow. When it does start to get hard and you do start to get those tired days and energyless days, then you just need to make sure that you're prioritizing your calendar, you're prioritizing what needs to be done, and making sure that everything is just in check. Ticking those boxes, and it's very easy to do so. So now I've kind of spoken about prep stuff in general. Now we're kind of going to move on to the post-competition kind of phase, which a lot of people do really struggle with. And one of the questions was, and one of my tips I do want to include, tip number 4, is how do you deal with post-show eating? So that is probably, I want to say, equal or maybe even harder to kind of deal with than actual prep itself, is the post-show. Not even just the eating side of it, but just the post-show phase in general is very, very difficult. And I think a lot of people, again, don't have enough information about it post-show to kind of know what to do and how to handle it. So I definitely want to include kind of some information about it. So post-show phase and post-show eating, I'm going to start on just the post-show phase in general. Obviously post-show, because you've been working for something for so long, you've been working towards this one goal, this one show day, that you've really put your absolute everything into, you've obviously sacrificed a lot for it, and that's now gone, and you might be kind of reversing, going into improvement season and kind of not thinking about show days anymore, you will become slightly lost because you've had that goal for so long, you don't know what to do now. Like, after a few of my shows, obviously when I first started competing, I found it so difficult to actually get back into normal life and be like a normal person. And when I say normal, I mean go out and eat with friends, kind of get to grips with actually having things when I wanted it, not restricting so much. I found it very difficult to kind of allow that. My top tip is kind of to make sure that you take each day as it comes, especially when it comes to the eating side of things. When it comes to the eating side of things, you will probably want to be like, fuck it, I can eat kind of what I want now, so I'm gonna eat anything I want. And I would suggest not to do that. I would suggest to kind of make sure that you bring that slight little bit of restriction that you had in prep into your improvement season post-show phase as well. Because when you have that much freedom, you kind of will just go into a spiral and just eat whatever you want, and it won't make you feel good. You think it will make you feel good being able to eat all these lovely things, these cakes, these treats, these sweets, all of that type of thing, when it's gonna just make you feel rubbish, and then you're gonna wanna go to the gym, burn it off, and you'll just be in this massive cycle. So to kind of avoid that is by just bringing in a little restriction and having moderation. So moderation is obviously, you can still eat these things that you kind of want to have, a few little things here and there, but don't have cake for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Have cake, a little slice of cake, and kind of stick to your meals. Make sure that you have, your coach gives you a reverse diet so you can keep you on plan a little bit, but you can add in a few things here and there of what you want. It just keeps a little bit of restriction in there, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good because you can have the foods you want, but also you're feeling good because you're not going overboard. The thing is, when you go overboard, it just doesn't make you feel nice at all, and it kind of just makes you feel worse the more you do it. So having that tiny little bit of restriction that you had in prep, bringing it into your post-show phase will literally make the world of difference, and it will really help you a lot more than just kind of spiraling out of control. And I know it's so much easier said than done, but try and just think, I know it's hard, but try and just have that little bit of restriction. Try and have a tiny slice of cake instead of half the cake. Do you know what I mean? That type of thing, I always try and stick to as much as I can post-show. Post-show phase, in general, about not having kind of a goal anymore, try and set yourself mini goals outside of fitness, outside of competing. So if it's something that you want to focus on work-wise, friends-wise, I don't know, something other than fitness, because you focused on fitness for so long, you kind of want to move a little bit away from that, so you can kind of focus on other aspects of your life. So what I did when I kind of finished this year, 2019, I focused on my work. I went back and I was like, okay, I want to build my business a bit more, build up my posing. So I've organized loads of different locations for me to do my posing, and I focused on that. And that type of thing you want to focus on a little bit more, instead of just solely fitness-based or body-based, or do you know what I mean? So that type of thing you want to try and focus on post-show. It's a good way to kind of stay focused. And I know a lot of people will think, Phoebe, you can literally do whatever you want now. You don't need to focus on goals. You don't need to focus on this. Just live life and do this. But you will think that, but you will want to work towards something. You will want to have something to have with you post-show. So I suggest having just a little bit of a goal behind you, doing like little things. Even if you want to focus on fitness and you want to get stronger in the gym, you can focus on something you want to build up, your shoulders, your glutes, that type of thing. That can be your new focus, but always find a new focus, because otherwise you feel so lost. You really, really feel lost on the post-show phase if you don't find something that you kind of want to work on. Whether it be fitness, whether it be non-fitness, just focus on something when you're post-show. The final tip and the final question is, when do you know when to stop competing? So when do you know when you're ready to kind of go into your improvement season, go into your off season from your prep? Now, this year, I stopped competing quite early on in the year. This is probably actually the earliest I've stopped competing this year, which was in August time. And usually I'd finish my competing season, literally I've done 4 years straight, and it'd always finish in November, December time. This year I finished in August. So that's a lot earlier for me. And I wanted to finish that early because I knew I needed a break. I'd done 8 shows in a very, very short amount of time this year. And I've done 8 shows last year as well, but it was spread from May all the way through till December. Whereas this year it was only May till August. I did 8 shows May till August. So that's a lot of shows to do in such a short period of time. And throughout those 8 shows that I did this year, I was getting first call outs, good placements, do you know what I mean? And my last show that I finally did, I got second call outs. And it wasn't it wasn't a bad placement, but it wasn't the placement I wanted. And I knew from that point, I needed to make sure that I needed to improve. I couldn't keep going and just doing show after show after show because I knew I would probably just get worse. My coach told me, we're done. Let's call it a day for this year and we'll go on to next year. And mentally, I could have kept on pushing because that's the type of person I am. But sometimes it's not always the best idea to listen to yourself mentally. You need to make sure that you're listening to your body and your coach most of all. So my body was tired. I was tired, but I could have still pushed on because, like I said, that's just the person I am. So it's difficult to kind of actually find out how you know when you need to stop. But I always say listen to someone that you trust, which will be 100% your coach, and listen to your body because your body will be telling you whether you need to stop. It might be that you're a little bit burnt out and you're tired and your body's not responding as well as it was at the first show. Those types of variables you need to make sure that you're listening to because that will give off a very good sign whether or not you can actually keep pushing for a show or not. So always listen to coach because the coach is number one. Coach Adam, always listen to Coach Adam, and always listen to your body because your body will be one of your number one resources to listen to because it won't respond as well as it did at the start. So always make sure that you're listening to those two. So those are my 5 top tips in kind of starting your competing journey. And hopefully you could learn a lot from that because back when I first started competing, I would have loved to hear this kind of information to kind of like get me ready for stage because like I had no clue what I was getting myself into and I handled it very well, but some people don't handle it so well. So I'm hoping this video will help you guys out a lot and it will give you a lot of informative information. There are also a few more questions, which I'm going to do a really, really quick fire round of just random questions that people also asked me because I did say on my Instagram, ask me anything, but most of the questions were beginner questions. So I'm going to do random little Q&A now of quick fire. So question 1, which was from my bestie Jade. If you could change one thing about your life, what would it be? And I'm not just saying this just because, but I generally wouldn't change a lot. The only thing that I think I would change is to try and help more people. I know that sounds so cliche, but I want to try and help more people within the fitness industry, within the competing industry, within that type of world to get you guys ready for competing fitness, just help you guys a lot more mentally. I think that's one thing I would try and change, which I am trying to change by doing these types of videos, putting out my journey a lot more. This is another question from one of my best friends, Beth. She said I need to give her a shout out to Beth Yendel. Last ever meal. So I was literally speaking to this about with Max the other day. It would probably be something like pizza or something with cheese because I'm such a lover of cheese. I love cheese so much. So anything with cheese on top would be an absolute winner for me. How old am I? I'm 24 years old and I turned 25 on the 15th of April. Do you have any plans for kids after competing? So yes, I would love to have kids. Obviously not anytime soon because I'm only 24, but I want to be obviously in a financially good position to have kids. I would never have kids unannounced because I don't think that's good for the kids to kind of grow up in an area that I'm not ready in. And I also wouldn't want to put them in that position. But yes, I do obviously plan on having kids like after competing and maybe even kind of carry on competing after I've had kids because loads of people always do that. But I don't know, that's way too far in the future for me. How do you have a good session when your energy is low? So suck it up. Honestly, I know that sounds really harsh like I was speaking about my mentality. My mentality is you can always get it done. You just have to keep pushing, have a big strong coffee and just get it done. Like honestly, there's no way of kind of around it. Make sure that you think throughout that whole session, I want to look the best I have on stage. I want to look like a boss on that stage. And honestly, that gives me all the energy I need. When I'm on cardio and I'm tired and I don't want to get it done, I literally think, Phoebe, you want to go to the Olympia, don't you? And that literally gives me all the energy I need. And my last one is, how do you deal with negativity within competing? So I honestly, it used to really affect me at the beginning of my kind of season, but now I literally just block it out. Like, I don't care. It really doesn't bother me, because there's a lot of people out there that like to just put a downer on you for no reason whatsoever. So I honestly just ignore all the negativity. If you are upset about something, obviously talk about it. Don't leave it bottled up, because obviously bottling up anything isn't a good idea, but make sure that you talk about it with someone, like a friend or boyfriend or something like that, if you are upset about that comment. But honestly, if you receive a negative comment, I would say laugh and don't respond, because honestly, they are not worth your time. They don't deserve any of your energy in their life. So just ignore it and keep pushing forward. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope this is a very long one. I'm really sorry for that, but I wanted to get as much information in this video as I could, because I know this video has been very highly requested. So thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Please, obviously, like I said before, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy and you want to see more videos, keep you updated, all of that type of thing. But I will be doing one of these once a month, 100%, because I know these are very highly requested, and they're just good and informative information, and I'd rather put these types of videos out there to give you guys more detail about fitness, competing, all that type of thing. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you soon.